Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Kellogg's Froot Loops. Kellogg's Froot Loops has decided that your kids are not gay enough, they're not diverse enough, they're not even inclusive enough, and they have the ultimate solution for this. They will push these digital books promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion on your children with their cereal boxes. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from Newsweek, Froot Loops is in hot water. Kellogg's cereal brand Froot Loops is facing boycott calls for offering consumers a digital library of children's books that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. This isn't the first time we covered Kellogg's before, because Kellogg's really is dedicated to destroying their business for diversity. They were sued for destroying their brands and lying to investors. That's a pretty good one. Boxes of the cereal in Canada include a promotional tag to a free library online. Purchasers and their families can use the resources to learn how incredibly colorful and diverse the world can truly be. Per the corresponding website, the library was created with the help of our partners at BGC Canada, formerly known as Boys and Girls Clubs. You don't really want to have the name of actual genders in your boys club. You need to change them to something that doesn't sound like a specific gender. And we know why, because there are a million genders. You can make them up every day. So why name something Boys and Girls Clubs anymore? Also, they got some help from Kids Can Press to help families explore diverse topics. The books include themes on racial and cultural inclusivity, as well as kindness and acceptance. And when they say kindness and acceptance, God only knows what they're talking about. However, the new initiative has sparked boycott calls on social media as users call for the brand to get the Bud Light treatment, which of course they deserve. A brand is a promise. A brand is not an opportunity to push an agenda. You sick people over at Kellogg's. Why do I say a brand is a promise? Because I have some background in marketing. A brand is an idea or a promise made to its target audience. It carries a unique identity and story that your customers will remember when they think about your company, your product, or service. A brand is a promise, and you have to keep that promise in everything you do. Why is a brand a promise? A brand promise is a value or experience a company's customers can expect to receive every single time they interact with that company. The more a company can deliver on that promise, the stronger the brand value in the mind of customers and employees. So for conservatives that understand marketing, that people like me have a background in marketing, or normal people that aren't interested in signing up for whatever the latest crazy progressive top-down agenda is, we look at this and we say, no, you cannot take Toucan Sam and utilize him to push your agenda on children that no one has generally accepted. The reason things like this get pushed in Canada is because you can basically get away with anything in Canada, and it's a smaller version of the United States market. They would love to be pushing this in the United States market, and they will absolutely as soon as they can if they don't get enough pushback on this. You really can't expose your kids to Toucan Sam or Tony the Tiger without having to worry, are they going to utilize these characters, these brand relationships with my children to push something other than cereal? If you want to sell sugary cereal to children and you want to have fun commercials with these characters, okay, I guess that's all right. The sugary cereal is not necessarily good for them, but it should stop there. It shouldn't go into social programming that, let's be honest, it's all top down. None of this stuff pushing diversity, equity, and inclusion comes from the general public. It comes from up above, whoever it is that's actually pushing it down into society. It's not something people want. It's something programmed from elites. And Wokeness, an amazing account on Twitter, also known as X, with more than 1.9 million followers, shared photos of the Froot Loop boxes in question alongside information regarding the brand's digital library. Froot Loops is now encouraging kids to go online and read their free library of woke propaganda, read a caption alongside the images. Here's the tweet from End Wokeness. Froot Loops is now encouraging kids to go online and read their free library of woke propaganda. Does this seem necessary? Does this seem appropriate? Did they reach out to parents and ask parents, hey, is it okay if we start pushing this stuff on your children? No. No, it's not appropriate. No, they never asked. And of course, this is not something people want. Certain people don't actually care. Very few people actually want something like this mixed in with children's cereal. Libs of TikTok, an account that has more than 2.6 million followers, shared a post that read Froot Loops promotes free access to a digital library on their cereal boxes for kids. Another amazing account, Libs of TikTok. And it's incredible because, I'm just a regular guy saying what I have to say about the agenda and entertainment and marketing and things like that. Libs of TikTok, massive account, has gotten national media attention. Just a regular person who cares about what's going on in their country. Same with End Wokeness. End Wokeness isn't some big media operation. Just a guy getting the word out. And obviously, as the title of their Twitter account tells us, wants to get this agenda-pushing woke nonsense out of the country. It's obviously not healthy. Here's what Libs of TikTok had to say. Froot Loops promotes free access to a digital library on their cereal boxes for kids. Kellogg's wants to indoctrinate your children with breakfast cereal. Stop giving them your money. Instead, shop at Official Public Square, where you can find millions of products from companies that you can be sure share your values. At publicsquare.com, you can get the app right here. And these are companies that are not trying to push a woke agenda. You can do a little bit more research on them so you understand what those guys are all about. Donald Trump Jr. is involved with them. Whoever Public Square is, whatever they are not trying to push an agenda on your children. Country musician John Rich, who was among those to turn his back on Bud Light, brought attention to Libs of TikTok post, writing his own army of followers, quote, hey parents, do your kids like Kellogg's cereal? Letting parents know, yeah, you should be aware of this. And it's not just about what they're doing in Canada. What you don't want is you don't want to trust a company and let your kids be exposed to a brand that's going to turn around and use that brand as an opportunity to push a social agenda. Toucan Sam is supposed to be fun. Tony the Tiger is supposed to be fun. Fun is all it's supposed to be about. Not let's turn your kids into our next target for pushing diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're supposed to be selling cereal. Quote, Froot Loops has gone woke and it's horrible for you, another ex-user wrote. I think we should boycott Froot Loops for our health and to punish them for going woke. Froot Loops diving into the woke propaganda instead of feeding kids breakfast. Now they're feeding them nonsense, commented another user. Stick to cereals, not social engineering. Echoing that sentiment, a third poster wrote, Froot Loops should stick to cereal, not pushing woke agendas on kids. Let children be kids, not targets of indoctrination. That's the problem with these woke people we're dealing with. They have no use for your children unless they are completely programmed with the woke agenda. Being libertarian says, I bet they don't encourage kids to read their ingredients. That is probably true. Western Lensman says, kids starting the day off right with 6 servings of sugar and a side of woke indoctrination. How could you imagine that they would push social agenda in consumer brands and consumer brands targeted at children? We used to have laws that prevented advertisements from specifically targeting children to buy products. That's all they were trying to do, was sell products to children. At this point, we would say, look, if you want to convince kids to buy certain products, we're completely fine with that. But what we're not fine with is pushing social agendas on kids. From Memeing on Libs, which is an account I'm going to follow right now that I've never seen before. Don't forget to use correct pronouns on your cereal box. Too amazing to put into a box. He, him, she, her, they, them. Now you can add your own pronouns. Don't support this company. I've made a point of saying, you know what? I don't want to push so hard that I tell people to boycott this company or don't boycott that company. I have to start saying it. Boycott these companies. Don't support these companies. Don't give them 1 cent of money if they're going to be utilizing their brand to push a social agenda. The only exception I will give is for patriotic messaging around the 4th of July. Other than that, it's completely inappropriate. And why should you support the 4th of July and your country? because without your country, you have no constitutional rights. And you absolutely need your constitutional rights. That is never something to be taken for granted. From another poster, another company to give the Bud Light treatment to, one detractor wrote, while conservative author Janie Johnson added, "I'm going to miss my Froot Loops. Stop the madness, protect our kids. Do your thing." Amid the backlash, a host of other Twitter users mocked the outrage displayed, with one account posting, quote, "How sad of a person do you have to be to get upset over Kellogg's giving kids access to free digital books and believing it's indoctrinating? It is indoctrinating. Stop pushing social agendas on children." Kellogg's had previously been subjected to boycott calls in June after its Frosted Flakes mascot Tony the Tiger posed for photos with social media trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney at the Tony Awards several weeks after Dylan Mulvaney's Bud Light backlash. Responding to the backlash at the time, a spokesperson for Kellogg's told Newsweek in a statement, quote, "Tony and Frosted Flakes were an official partner of this year's 76th annual Tony Awards. Tony the Tiger was at the Tony Awards to celebrate Broadway's biggest hit. Tony walked the red carpet at the event and took photos there and backstage with nominees and other guests, many of whom have been lifelong Frosted Flakes fans." In April, Kellogg Company said that it was on track to achieve its own diversity, equity, and inclusion goals behind the scenes with regards to gender and racial representation. That's what they're getting sued for. The company had set a global management goal of having a 50-50 gender parity at the management level by the end of 2025. By the same deadline, it is also aiming to bring the number of racially underrepresented talent at the management level up to 25%. Your money is your power and your influence, so it's not for me to tell you what to do with it. But if you want to know what I suggest you do with it, stay away from any and every woke company trying to push a social agenda through their products. There is absolutely no excuse, no meaning, no purpose in doing something like that. These companies are well aware that there's a very small minority of people that actually want any of this. They're trying to still push it through as much as they can, not respecting the cultural, religious, and social values that parents and families and communities have and actually care about. We can't go buy a box of Froot Loops and then go with a pair of scissors and cut out links to products that help them push their social agendas. We can't be doing that, and they are well aware of it. So they push it as much as they can because they figure some busy parents can't take the time to actually protect their children. This is not good. This is something companies should never be doing. We shouldn't be taking advantage of consumers, and particularly not their children. Please think twice before supporting any companies that do things like this. They need to get the message. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.